Drill music was the final nail in hip hop's coffin. For a while now, people have been talking about the decline of hip hop, rap music, how it is no longer what it used to be. And we've been saying this for at least the past 10 years. But the final nail in the coffin, like now there's no debate. People used to talk about, oh no, hip hop is still going strong. And other people be like, no, this is out the window. Even hip hop artists themselves, like Nas, like major hip hop artists that's been in the game for a long time. People who pretty much damn near helped hip hop grow into the massive behemoth that it was in this country, came out and said, yo, it's over. It's finito. It's a done deal with hip hop, rap music, and drill music was the one to do it, was the final nail in a coffin. And I'm going to explain to you why. All right. See, when hip hop first started out, it was really about revolutionary music. You know, it's supposed to be anti-establishment. Let's talk about the poverty. Let's talk about how the man is holding us back, why we live the way we do. This is fighting back music, okay? And somehow when the record companies got involved in hip hop, they had to shift the energy. That anger, that animosity, that revolutionary mindset had to be directed somewhere else besides the man, which you could say is the record labels as well, could be included in that. So they ended up finding a way to have that energy be directed at each other, at the people making the music. At first, it was about the people on the outside of the culture, but now it became a spectacle where people on the outside of the culture are watching people within the culture beef it out through music and even real life stuff. Now this is where the transition happened, right? So gangster music comes in the 90s and people are beefing, but it was always like it was never direct. You know, every now and then you'd get a few direct, like, yeah, oh, actually, to be honest, the first time I heard something super direct, I'm sure there was time before that, but was when Gucci Mane and Jeezy had their beef, and Gucci Mane was like, yo, go pick up your dead partner. And I remember being like, whoa, like I never heard anything like that before. Like people used to diss. And I actually know 50 Cent had a homo shot me, then he got shot down. Okay, no, 50 Cent had one too. You know what I mean? He shot me, he got shot down. Now I know I'm here for a real reason, because he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't effing breathing. Oh my gosh, I remember that. Anyways, regardless though, these were like the subtleties, you know, and it was like years apart. But then once people started to actually talk about specific people dying, right? Once you could link a record being produced that was backed by a big label, once you can pinpoint as soon as that record was produced, dissing this specific person, this specific gang, that man died, then the family members can come out and say, no, you are directly responsible for this man's beef. That's what they would say to the record labels. And a few of them did that. A few of them went out and they started to sue the record labels because it wasn't so ambiguous. Like it wasn't so like nonchalant. We don't know who he's talking about. He didn't drop any names. So it went from like revolutionary music to gangster music amongst each other, right? Then that gangster music turned into specifics. All right. Your man got popped last week. He's gone now. We puffed on him. Right. So then when people start connecting the dots, and you got to remember the government started to get involved too, especially from the Mecca of hip hop, New York. Even the mayor seemed like he wanted to like damn near ban hip hop music. But that's not exactly what happened. What happened was the spotlight is now on, because this is a new thing now. It really came from Chicago. And once it hit New York, they're like, nah, we're not having it. And most of the country wasn't having it either. So the level of directness to death within people making the music scared the record labels, because now we're in unprecedented territory. You can always be like, nah, that song didn't cause that man's death. But after a while of it happening, you can make the connection like, no, as soon as they put that song out, that's when he died. And by the way, there's a multi-billion-dollar record label that helped produce that song. And, you know, whenever people with money get involved, then, you know, the people want to sue. People want to sue, and they don't don't want to take responsibility for what that person did. Like, side note, I'm going to get back to the topic, but I had a real problem with Mama Duck trying to sue the record labels, to be honest with you, because it's like, your son was a demon. You raised him to be that. Most of your kids are gone now. And it's just like, you're a failed parent. And now you're trying to capitalize off of something that you had no problem with when your son was alive and making money off of it. But now that he's gone, now you want to point the blame and point the fingers as if you wasn't the one eating off of the fruits of his labor. It's not like it's not like anything changed but the death of your son. You understand? So when that energy, when that mindset started to take place within hip hop, the record labels decided it's no longer worth investing in. All right. Drill music, hip hop, rap, whatever genre, like they're not throwing any money behind it because they realized, they said, yo, you know what? We can put our money behind this African, what do they call? I'm not going to edit this, so bear with me. African music, but not like actually African music, you know, like the stuff that like Burna Boy music, you know what I mean? I got to figure out exactly. I know it's at the top of my tongue, but like, you know, or like Bad Baby music, or like, you know, like music that is more international, because there's a whole nother audience that wasn't being tapped into. So once the record label started to get scared and realizing that, yo, we could potentially lose a lot of money dealing with this genre, then they're like, wait a minute, there's a whole nother genre right here that we can like inject into the American music scene. And, you know, people are going to vibe with it. Listen, on my life, on everything I love, there's a song, I don't know what it is, but it's a Japanese song. It's a hip hop Japanese song. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're saying, but your boy's nodding his head to it, you know? So they realized they found a way to kind of package it for, you know, people in this country to enjoy. Not to mention also, you know, political climate, things that are going on social media, black fatigue as what they call it, that also plays a role. But the final nail in the coffin was when people started to sue record labels for specific deaths in this type of way. All right. Now, I'm not entirely sure if a record label has taken any losses. I don't think they have yet, or these cases are still in trial, but it will come. If it keeps on happening, because you got to think about it. You're like, okay, you know, this person's a criminal. He's been locked. This is the record labels. This is how it would go in court. Like, you could be like, yo, this person just got indicted on a RICO. He just got found with a bunch of guns and he's rapping about killing these specific people. You guys enabled that some way, somehow. That's going to be the argument in court. And it's going to keep on happening, and keep on happening. They're going to lose more and more and more money with, honestly, with an industry that wasn't even pumping in as much money as it was before. You know, like the money started to dwindle down anyways, because people, you know, like, people are into this other stuff. You get older, you kind of like, it's harder to sell stuff based off of killing and stuff than it is to sell stuff based off of a good vibe and good music. Like 50 Cent, G-Unit, right? Like, because it'd be hard for you to buy a G-Unit gear, right? And actually, no. You know what better? Actually, no. This is a better thing. Like, because there was nothing specific about 50 Cent, and like, you don't know if he was a Blood, if he was a Crip, you don't know, at least back then, you know, it was very ambiguous. Like, you didn't know for sure. You could put on a G-Unit shirt, G-Unit sneakers, G-Unit jeans, and not feel like you're part of the effery. You just like the style. Even with Sean John, I think it was, like all of it, like you could market it better, but you could never wear clothes that a specific gang is repping, because then you almost align yourself with a specific type of energy, you know, where it's just like before it was kind of like, oh, he just like the style. But it's like, I don't know if D-Thang, or like, you guys might not know who these people are, but like if specific drill artists came out with clothes, you might end up having to pick a side, you know what I mean? Like, especially in those specific areas. But all you need to know right now is that it's way harder to market killing music, like this type of specific killing music. You know, what they did was they tapped in to the anger. They tapped into that revolutionary side, but then it just got like they tapped into it, turned it against us, and then they just beat it down, beat it down, beat it down, beat it down. And the more and more like they beat it into us, it just got worse and worse and worse until you hit the Chicago drill scene era. So now them boys are smoking on Tuka, smoking on this. FBG Duck is dead. Little Durk is tied up in a RICO. Every day you hear about, literally, like it doesn't make national news, but local cities, everybody's getting popped and locked up based off of the music stuff. Now, for a while, I didn't want to believe it. It's not, actually, no, I'm lying. It's not that I didn't want to believe it. I don't like people not taking responsibility of what they got going on. And trust me, I'm going to wrap this up in a bit, but I don't like people not taking responsibility for what they got going on. So it's like, part of me was like, yes, maybe the music does have something to do with it, but let's target that specific person and get them out of here. You know what I mean? Or like I can listen to drill music and not go pop at somebody. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that self-control, then you're the problem, not me. I shouldn't suffer and be censored and, you know, whatever, because you can't control yourself. But regardless, not everybody feels that way, especially when you're talking about civil court cases and crying mothers grieving over their dead children. You understand? And especially when you have criminal records that go back and back, and then, like, you know, K-Flock popping that dude. K-Flock was literally damn near the face of drill, like new drill, after Pop Smoke. And, you know, him catching that case on camera, it didn't shed any good light on it, you know? And so anyways, to wrap this video up, they got scared and they realized, while looking for a way out to pivot, there's probably more money in the international stuff. So what they do is they pump the money in there. There's more people to consume that music, and you can take it outside of America, and then you can bring it inside of America. Now, America, it's still a powerhouse, but other nations are growing too. Other people are getting money and they're trying to buy merch. They're trying to buy concert tickets. Like, the only reason why I was really focused here in America, because we had the paper, we had the money, we had the culture, and it came from here. But now it's like, okay, now these, like, Brazil, these people are getting money too. These Africans are getting money too, and they want to visit, they want to spend, and they want to consume. So the record labels are like, okay, we're gonna go that route. So now, to wrap this up, what's probably going to happen with hip hop is it's going to revert back to what it was before. More like underground, not like fully underground, not like Wu-Tang Clan, like not like the early 90s era, but the money isn't going to be behind it. But that might be a good thing, because then after that, you know, you kind of get, hopefully the music turns back into, like, you know, Rage Against the Establishment, or like, wait, why did I say Rage Against the Establishment? Anyways, whatever. Like, you get what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that music, what this turns into, it reverts back to revolutionary music, you know, back to, you know, conscious music. That's what it really started off at. It started off with conscious music. People thinking about, you know, what the meaning of life really. I remember hearing Wu-Tang talking about the third eye and all this other stuff. Even if, like, it's just expanding your horizons to different things, you know, even religious music, social, political. That's what it was all about before. So once the money gets removed, people don't really have an incentive. Now you're not talking about the Maybachs. You're not talking about the stuff that people can't necessarily obtain, you know, for the people that you're marketing to. You're not necessarily talking about that stuff now. Now you're talking about the stuff that everybody can relate to and get behind. And I think that would be a better move. And without the money and without the influence of the record industry, we may revert back to that. But maybe not, though, because back in the days, people were a little bit more connected. People a little bit more together. They knew who the enemy was. They knew what the establishment was and how it was affecting us all as a whole. But now we're so broken up into different groups and different sects, to where it's just like, we might not come together and agree that this is the issue now. We all need to get behind this. Anyways, regardless, though, that was the nail in the coffin. People like to talk about, oh, you know, all this other stuff with hip hop, but drill music was the one. It wasn't even the lyrics, because because lyrics didn't even matter. It was all about pumping money into whatever worked. So if you had like a catchy sound, even if you was talking about drugs and popping whatever, like, it still worked for you or whatever, as long as the money was being made. But once the threat of that money going away happened, It was a dub. They're like, nah, no more investment. Like the final people that was like Drake, Migos, Big Sean, like all of the people, those guys would be okay. But those were the last ones left, man. Straight up and down. Anyways, I'm out of here. This video's gone on way too long. But if you watch this whole thing, you might as well subscribe, bro. Like, you've been here damn near, what, 15 minutes? So you might as well subscribe, like the channel. And if you don't, I appreciate your viewership regardless. I'm out of here. Breathe easy, man.